Okay. Should be coming back now. Yeah, we should be back on now. Well, that was fucking interesting. I don't know what happened, but something must have happened. Pick up. That was so strange. I don't know what the copyright was. I got a fucking copyright thing on there. Is it this? I guess we'll find out if I start watching it again. Anyways.
When the USSR collapsed, that it didn't have an effect. So to claim that the embargo is affecting Cuba,
and I think when we look at can I make a point? Because this is a point I wanted to make for a long time. When we look at countries like Cuba and China, I think it's more important to judge them based on what they had before the revolution. Before Cuba had a revolution, nobody had access to healthcare. They were working on slave plantations that were dominated by Western multinational corporations. China before the revolution, yes, there were famines during the era of Mao. There were far more famines before Mao came to power and before China was able to
Pull up my happen. I need to figure out how the fuck this shit works. I'm just gonna keep it fucking going until if I see it go again, we'll just stop fucking watching this, I guess.
Industrialize and get to the point today where they're now one of the most powerful countries on earth. In the 1950s, the US was already industrialized. China had to do that. They were a semi-feudal country in extreme poverty. And in just 70 plus years, they've become this economic superpower. That is through central economic planning and, yes, allowing some of those private markets in.
That's by undercutting the U.S. on labor because they don't actually have to pay people very much. They don't pay them based on their value, so they can make people come over there and work far cheaper, have their companies there, and then we buy their products cheaper. We are propping up China's economy, and we've been really stupid with our own policies when it comes to that. And also, we are constantly hamstringing ourselves because our government keeps regulating our economy more, getting more involved, tying its hands, so that they are outpacing us, plus all the money we're spending on war, instead of actually like letting people keep their taxes and invest in more things. So they are playing us right now. The U.S. has been really foolish, but it's not because communism works. They were starving up until 1979.
Well, let's look at exactly what they did. Let's look at exactly what they did when they opened up trade. They opened up special economic zones where multinational corporations could come in, but they said you're only allowed to do things as long as it's in line with the party and as long as it's in line with the government's central plans. I mean, to say that China's just capitalist full stop or that all their successes come from capitalism
I'm saying that they were starving before capitalism started getting
They were starving under feudalism.
It's very interesting that she makes the point that more people should have their taxes when capitalism is completely against people having their taxes. Like it just is. Capitalism exists to keep, the people that have the capital at the top and the people that work at the bottom. The whole point of capitalism is to have cheap labor so that scrape off the top, get as much profit as possible.
Hannah and Cam come in here with the guns. They got the fire. They know they're ready for this. Who is we? When you say we, who's in this we? Because we did this, because we did that. Who Who's this metaphorical we?
Because the U.S. government is not a capitalist government, and we have to be strict about terms here. Capitalism is a system and an economy. The government can either uphold capitalism or they can impede it. Our government is constantly impeding it. So when the government comes in and tells you, you can trade with this person, you can't trade with that person, that is the government, which is weak. So we have a representative government doing that. Is that something I, as a capitalist, want to see them doing?
An American citizen.
No,
I
don't.
American citizens,
but we are American citizens, and so they are supposed to be representing our interests. If we're going to talk about what we're doing as a country, yes, like that is a huge part of it. And I also want to go back to communism, because when you talk about some of these countries that people often call democratic socialist countries, they rank higher on the economic freedom index than we do. That means they are more capitalist in their economy
and I don't think those
than
countries
we are.
What? So good economy equals capitalist because they have good money, so they must have been capitalist, even though it's the social policies that are bringing in that. Like, I would agree a democratic socialist government is better, but not because of the capitalism. I would say that it's the social policies that make it better. I think we need more of that in the United States 100% of the time.
And so I just want to make sure we're defining terms, because communism is the centralized control and ownership of production of companies. Sorry, but this is my point.
No, it's not. Yeah. Communism is stateless, classless. Communism takes production and puts it in people. I mean, socialism is just owning the means of production. So it is decentralized. This is the opposite.
I'm trying to make. Like, we have to
that's just a definition term. That's not like my opinion. That's the definition of what that is.
Talk about actual systems that are communist. If we're going to debate this,
define socialism to me, it feels as very demeaning.
Wait, are we doing communism?
How do you define it then? Because I'm hearing things called socialism that aren't.
But the prompt is communism.
I guess, like, in terms of
Mr. Ty Lopez coming in with a real good one there. I don't think he understands that it goes capitalism, socialism, communism. Like, communism is the end, pretty much, the final form, pretty much, of socialism.
Communism and capitalism, both are ideal states that don't fully work by themselves. But I do think capitalism is more pessimistic versus communism more optimistic. In an ideal state, if everyone actually worked hard and they wanted to contribute to a society and make it better, I think communism would work.
Everybody cares. I think you guys are well-intentioned.
Well, you could teach them, though.
Giving people government aid makes them lazy.
Interesting.
Getting government aid makes you lazy. A great example of that is Elon Musk. The amount of government aid the X Foundation gets in order to pursue inventions that don't work. How often did you hear about that tunnel? Elon Musk is just one example of many different CEOs, multi-corporations, who get government aid to be able to do these things just because they have the net worth.
Yeah, so I agree with you on this.
I would agree with that. I would 100% agree with that. Many of the things that get government assistance are big corporations. They get it a lot, which is interesting because people at the bottom don't get nearly the amount of government assistance that they do, which is sad to see. The U.S. in general seems to prioritize the top 1% over the people at the bottom, which is a gross thing. Should change.
I hate corporate welfare. I think it's the biggest perversion of capitalism out there. It doesn't work. Its track record is terrible. And it actually is the government coming in and picking winners and losers. And it very rarely goes in favor of small businesses, which is what most business in the U.S. actually is owned by. But the way it makes people lazy is not necessarily because they're bad people. It's because you have fiscal cliffs. You get this amount of welfare if you make under $24,000 a year. You make $25,000 a year, your benefits drop off. So it actually disincentivizes people from moving up, working harder, taking on more jobs. It's a terrible structure.
I completely agree with that from a perspective of it creates animosity. If there was a system saying that you couldn't use a certain government aid program that you're already paying taxes to just because you make this amount, wouldn't you have animosity for those people below you?
The cliffs are, I think, more so specifically referencing like situations where people are taking in welfare and it compensates for their like lack of income. and then they get a promotion or something, and they lose the welfare, and they're worse off than they were before they lost the welfare.
Wait.
Prior to
What was that?
Creates animosity. If there
Right.
was a system saying that you couldn't use a certain government aid program that you're already paying taxes to just because you make this amount, wouldn't you have animosity for those people below you?
The cliffs are, I think, more so specifically referencing like situations where people are taking in welfare and it compensates for their like lack of income, and then they get a promotion or something and they lose the welfare and they're worse off than they were before they lost the welfare and prior to the promotion.
So I don't understand this argument. So what I am hearing him say is people benefit from welfare when they are lower income, but then they get the promotion and not only are they somehow no longer lower income, which is crazy because that would be quite the promotion that you just got if you were low income to get welfare, and now you get one promotion and you're no longer in need of welfare, that those welfare benefits would go away and you're now worse off. Why would that be an argument to take away welfare? Wouldn't that be an argument that welfare should probably be expanded since you're still not doing well anymore? You should probably still receive some sort of benefits for not being able to live. I just don't understand that argument at all.
You build that state dependency and it de-incentivizes people to like work up the corporate ladder in their companies because they're receiving aid from the government.
I think also we have to say what makes people work hard, not just what makes people lazy. Because I think that's the problem you look at government welfare is it is essentially keeping people trapped. It keeps them trapped in cycles of poverty. We actually saw before the great welfare deal under
Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. I've heard this argument before. Oh my god. Yeah, it is this. This is what's fucking pulling it off. People react to this all the time. Why is this pulling it off? Oh yeah. Alright, well I guess I'll switch off of that now. Because I can't watch it for whatever reason. Okay. Okay.